How many people go over 900 at Worlds?
Um, I don't know if what I was going to say respectfully, but it's not even respectfully, really. It's kind of like it's. I think it's just going to be me and Joe. But
What's up, Powerlifting Nation? Firstly, we're going to talk about Ade Omasakin, who posted a massive training total this morning. Will he be able to win the battle of the 83s? And second of all, we're going to talk about some breaking news that kind of changes a lot of things in the powerlifting world, especially Sheffield, in the next year or so. So let's get into it, starting off with Ade Omasakin. The World Championships is in about 4 weeks' time, and Joe Borenstein is the favourite in the under 83 kg class, but Ade Omasakin is right behind. Why is Joe Borenstein the favourite? Well, he totaled 900 kg in the 83s, the first 83 to do this at Powerlifting American Nationals, and he is still looking very strong in training. I think his top end will be 900 kg at the World Championships, and I think he'll be able to total this amount. Even Taylor Atwood was saying on the Sabado Sessions podcast yesterday that Joe Borenstein is someone whose training totals really do translate onto the platform. He's very reliable when doing this, and Joe Borenstein is looking very strong in training, repping 870 kg. So, like I said, Joe Borenstein's top end looks around 900 kg, but the question is, can Ade meet Joe Borenstein at this 900 kg point and pose a threat to Joe Borenstein? Well, Ade Omasakin posted a massive total of 852.5 kg, a training total. And this wasn't just for singles, this was for reps. He did a squat double, a bench single, and a deadlift triple. And this is very impressive. But from this rep PR, where do I think Ade will be on meet day? Will he be close to that 900 kg range? Well, thankfully, before big competitions, Ade does tend to do these big rep PRs. And so we can look at his past training rep PRs before meets and see where he ends up at meets to try and accurately predict where he will be for this meet. So before Ade did his 861 kg total last year, he did 835 kg 4 reps. Bear in mind he did one less rep during these reps compared to his 852.5 because he missed his final deadlift rep. But yeah, we can say that he ended up roughly 30 kg stronger when comparing his reps to the top end on meet day. Moving on to his Sheffield prep. Before Sheffield, Ade did an 842.5 kg training rep total, and he ended up having a top end of, I would say, 875 kg. If he had had a perfect day where nothing went wrong, I could see Ade totaling 875 kg at Sheffield. So once again, he was about 30 kg, 35 kg stronger on the platform compared to his reps. So overall, now that Ade has done 852.5 kg for reps, if we add 30 to 35 kg more onto this, then his top end will be around 887.5 kg, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more on meet day, hopefully a little bit more. So what does this mean? Well, 800 and let's say 90 kg is less than 900 kg. So I do think that Ade will have a slower top end compared to Joe on the platform. However, 10 kg isn't very much, and all Joe Borenstein needs to do is miss one attempt, and Ade could be right in there, execute, and win the competition. But overall, I will stick to what I have been saying, and I do think that Joe Borenstein is still the favourite for the competition. One thing I would say, though, is that Ade Omasakin's deadlift looks a lot more solid. At Sheffield, he missed his final deadlift because he lost balance. But during the deadlift triple that he did, his deadlift looked a lot more solid than it has done in the past. Now, Ade having such a big top end will be a little bit disappointing for Joe Borenstein. Why? Well, I think that Joe Borenstein will probably be quite confident that he is going to win the Battle of the 83s at Worlds. I mean, he's got such a high top end. But the issue is, moving on to Sheffield, Ade having a high top end will kind of affect how well Joe Borenstein will be able to do at Sheffield. This is because Sheffield is scored by who can break the world record in their weight class by the highest percentage. The world record in the 83s is 870.5 kg. And so if Ade Omisarkin, even if he doesn't win, but if he pushes up the world record to, let's say, 885, 890 kg, maybe even more, this will mean that Joe Borenstein will have to total a lot more to break the world record by the same percentage at Sheffield. So this could be harmful for his chances of winning Sheffield. So Ade being so strong may affect a few things moving into Sheffield next year, which is, I guess, an interesting factor to think about when watching the World Championships. And yeah, it will be a little bit annoying for Joe Borenstein, but overall I'm happy that Ade is looking so strong, because I was scared that the Battle of the 83s at Worlds would be a little bit boring if Joe Borenstein is just a lot stronger than everyone. But Ade looks like he can make it a competition. He can make it close. Next up, we have some breaking news. The 59 kg representative for Team USA, Waska, has pulled out of the World Championships because he has sustained a back injury. And this is a shame, because he would have, in my opinion, definitely won the battle of the 59s. Kasim-san maybe could have given him a challenge, but overall I think he would have won. But now Team USA has to bring someone else to the World Championships to take Waska's place. And it was out of two lifters pretty much. Either Taylor Atwood or Keenan Lee were going to go. And one was the first reserve and one was the second reserve. I don't know exactly how they decide who the first and second reserves are, but it's based on the performance that both of them did at the Powerlifting American Nationals. But I saw on the Instagram story of Max, who makes really cool Instagram powerlifting content, but I saw on his story that Taylor Atwood would have been the first reserve for Team USA if he had totaled 1 more kg at the Powerlifting American Nationals. And so Keenan Lee beat him by 1 kg. And so Keenan Lee will be going to the World Championships, and Taylor Atwood will remain as a reserve unless someone else pulls out of Worlds. And this must be so disappointing for Taylor Atwood. And this is disappointing as a powerlifting fan, because Taylor Atwood would have made the Battle of the 83s even more exciting. Taylor Atwood had a top end of around 895 kg at Powerlifting American Nationals. And so we were 1 kg away from seeing a battle between Taylor Atwood and Joe Borenstein, a rematch once again, which would have been incredibly exciting. And it's especially a shame because Keenan Lee, to get his total that beat Taylor Atwood, that was quite a top-end total for Keenan Lee. However, Taylor Atwood could have totaled a lot more at Powerlifting American Nationals. The problem was that he pulled for the win to try and beat Joe Borenstein's 900 kg total, and so he left a lot of kilograms on the platform. And so yeah, he could have, if he had just totaled 1 kg, gone to the World Championships. So yeah, that's a big shame for Taylor Atwood, but we are going to have Keenan Lee. And to be fair, Keenan Lee, initially I was upset that Keenan Lee had been picked over Taylor Atwood, because Keenan Lee is incredibly strong in the 105s. But realistically, Anthony McNaughton is just so much stronger. Anthony looks like he can total 1,000 kg, whereas Keenan Lee looks like he can total around 960 kg, despite him being the second strongest 105 kg lifter in the world currently, while Ashton Ruska is injured. But after thinking for a while, I now realise that Keenan Lee going to the World Championships changes a lot of things in the next year. Why? Well, it goes back to Sheffield. The world record in the 105s is 940.5 kg. And I think that Keenan Lee would probably be the only one that could go over this world record. And so this would mean that Keenan Lee wouldn't need to push up the world record at least much over this world record, and so it would mean that maybe by the end of the World Championships the world record would be 945 kg, and then at Sheffield he could total 1000 kg, maybe even more, and completely obliterate Sheffield. Before this news, I thought that Anthony McNaughton would definitely win Sheffield because he could just smash that world record. However, now that Keenan Lee will be competing at the World Championships, if he can replicate his total at Powerlifting American Nationals, which will be difficult, but if he can, and he can total around 960 kg, this would make a big difference for Anthony McNaughton's Sheffield campaign, because this would be increasing the current world record by 2%. And breaking a world record by 2% at Sheffield is enough sometimes to win the whole thing and win, what, £25,000. So yeah, once again, this is a shame for Anthony McNaughton that Keenan Lee is now going to the World Championships unless he pulls out. But yeah, it is going to be exciting to see what happens. Will Keenan Lee push up that world record? But even with Keenan Lee pushing up the world record, I would still put my money on Anthony McNaughton because he looks like he can total 1000 kg, maybe even more. And so this would still break the world record in the 105s by a massive percentage. But we never know. Maybe this will be just enough to let someone sneak in and beat Anthony McNaughton at Sheffield. This will make Sheffield more exciting. We never know. Rondell Hunt, I have a feeling he will get a wildcard invite to Sheffield. And he could break the world record in the 120s by quite a bit. Zhao Backlund, he could break the 66 kg world record and win. I don't know, maybe even Joe Borenstein, if he is looking even stronger because he's progressing quickly, maybe he could just about beat Anthony McNaughton because Keenan Lee has pushed up this world record. We don't know, but this changes quite a few things for Sheffield. It makes it more competitive. But that's the end of today's video. Go and check out rp10.shop. We've got lots of products over there if you're interested. And I will see you guys in the next one. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.